E3 season is back. It is finally back once again. After the crazy year of 2020, not having an E3, some studios and companies hosting their own special events and presentations. A lot of people were discussing the fate of E3 given this. But now, albeit in an online format, E3 is making its comeback next week in 2021, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's your boy, SuperMarioT, making his annual E3 predictions once again, and I'm feeling pretty good about this year's E3. It taking an online format doesn't worry me at all. Most of the companies involved this year have plenty of experience delivering both one-off announcements and their own special video presentations, to where they could still deliver a solid experience. Most people get these announcements and trailers online anyways, and particularly with Nintendo, they've been good with online presentation formats with all the directs. If you couldn't guess from the title or my channel name, yes, this will largely focus on Nintendo-related announcements. No negative bias to most of the other companies or anything bad. I just both need to play other games not Nintendo, and I just simply like Nintendo games a lot. And the potential surrounding Nintendo in particular for this E3 is pretty strong. But before we dive in and I explain how, can I just say this feels nice? Expecting and anticipating E3 this year, and with the world somewhat coming back to normal, vaccines rolling out, and plenty of people are getting them thankfully. Not everyone unfortunately, but we're still on the path back to normalcy, like literally, and that feels very nice to see and feel. Just that approach to life going back to normal in a way for some people, this traditional thing gamers have always had, to where the event in person may not live up to what is hyped, but all these companies coming together, announcing these big games again, it just feels nice to see take place after a time where it didn't take place, and the world was worse. But now on the road to recovery, and with events trying to return to normal to an extent. It's just nice. The event itself will take place throughout next weekend, June 12th to the 15th. There will be other companies present as usual, Ubisoft, Square Enix, Microsoft, Sega, Bandai Namco, Capcom, etc. And I'll probably touch on a non-Nintendo prediction or two, but you know me, I'm here to predict Nintendo's own E3 presence and any potential Nintendo announcements that could be made. June 15th, 9 AM Pacific, noon Eastern is where Nintendo will host a 40-minute long direct, and with a 3-hour live stream of Nintendo Treehouse showing gameplay afterwards. Very much in line with how Nintendo usually does E3. This also made me reflect on Nintendo's last E3 in 2019. And that was a pretty strong E3 as well. They gave us a proper look at Animal Crossing New Horizons, we got a better look at Luigi's Mansion 3, Link's Awakening HD, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Cadence of Hyrule, plenty of third-party stuff with Dragon Quest XI, Trials of Mana, No More Heroes 3 getting a trailer, 2 Smash Bros. Reveals between Dragon Quest Hero and Banjo-Kazooie, and that was also the E3 we got Breath of the Wild 2. Between Animal Crossing, a new Zelda tease, Luigi's Mansion, 2 Smash characters, and all the third-party stuff and other first-party stuff I didn't even mention, that E3 can be argued for being a pretty strong and solid E3 Direct for Nintendo in general. And when retrospectively looking at what Nintendo has, and could have this year and next year, they're in a pretty strong position right now. They have multiple games slated for next year, if not without a timetable for a while now. Splatoon 3, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Project Triangle Strategy, Metroid Prime 4, the multitude of anniversaries this year between Zelda, Kid Icarus, more specifically Donkey Kong. There have been some rumors and logical prediction crafting surrounding Donkey Kong, recently Warioware, some stuff coming out this year like Mario Golf Super Rush, Skyward Sword HD, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, not to mention we're like practically guaranteed of getting a new Smash character. Like there's a lot of ideas and potential going into Nintendo's favor this E3 that I can't help but feel confident and excited this year. After not having E3 at all last year amidst COVID, will be very strong and satisfactory. Get a wishful thinking pipe dream or two granted as well, this could potentially be one of Nintendo's best E3s if stuff is varied and strongly presented. And 40 minutes is plenty for a lot of info on new, secret games, so there's plenty to pick and choose with this, even when I'm wrong like 97% of the time. I'll start off with Zelda first, since I think we can all agree that's probably the first big announcement we're all expecting. This year's Zelda's 35th anniversary, Breath of the Wild 2 hasn't been given any new details or information since 2 years ago. We got a direct last February with Aonuma coming in all. In terms of Breath of the Wild 2 news, we have no Breath of the Wild 2 news, but we promise to share more info later in the year. Zelda is also one of Nintendo's tentpole franchises. Breath of the Wild is one of Nintendo's biggest games ever since the Switch started. Why wouldn't they drop a trailer or more info of the sequel to their biggest Zelda game ever at the most popular gaming event of the year? I wholeheartedly expect a Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, maybe showing off more Ganondorf, or this new Hyrule or new locations we're exploring since this is a new landscape we're checking out, maybe more story bits as well, maybe a new character. Zelda being here just makes way too much sense. Even a new Breath of the Wild 2 trailer seems reasonable. The release window they'll give though, I think is a little tricky. You'd think they want to release it for this holiday, and also because this year specifically is the 35th anniversary for Zelda, but they kept pushing back the first Breath of the Wild numerous times, making sure it was polished. It had a lot of ideas as well and stuff they wanted to put in, and given the massive success of it since it launched, I don't think them not saving releasing it this holiday would cannibalize its sales by a big margin, considering it's Zelda. It's the sequel to the biggest, most popular game in the series. COVID likely must have impeded development somewhat, but not only do I believe they likely started development on this since 2018 after they wrapped up DLC for the first game, I think it's just them wanting to polish everything and get everything in order, similar to how often the first game got pushed back. This coupled with how the sequel's reusing assets, the engine, and likely a lot of other resources from the first game, which I'm all for. It helps save time, money, and resources, especially since the first Breath of the Wild is a gorgeous game and used a ton of stuff that would otherwise not be reused or salvaged for most other Zeldas to come after. So I could see them pushing this game back for a bit. I could picture a March 2022 release window as the sweet spot, since that's still within the fiscal year of 2021. But between the potential scope of the game, comparing it to Breath of the Wild's 2020, and how much of the development team is on board with polishing the heck out of the new Zelda games up until release, I'll honestly be kind of surprised if they release this game this upcoming holiday. Early 2022 is what I could personally see, but if I'm wrong, then hey, we'll get a potentially banger game this holiday. I also think we'll get another reminder regarding Skyward Sword HD. Not a huge thing, just them being all, hey, come get our $60 port of a Wii game next month. This alongside us getting more details on Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC. Whatever the DLC pass describes, I forgot. At least in the first pack, I think we're getting here. I highly doubt they'll leave Zelda hanging. The other big reveal we'll likely get is a Smash character as well. We still have 2 characters left. We got Pyra and Mythra 4 months ago. Volume 2 has 6 months left at this point. I think we're getting at least 1 character here for Smash Ultimate DLC. Some people are wondering if we're getting 2 characters, since we've historically had more than 1 character reveal at E3. E3 2013, Smash 4 was given a trailer, Villager from Animal Crossing, Mega Man, and Wii Fit Trainer were all announced there. E3 2014, we got another segment on Smash 4 before release, with the Mii Fighters getting a trailer, Palutena from Kid Icarus, awesome trailer by the way, and Pac-Man later that evening. Right before E3 of 2015 as well, these sadly got leaked, but Roy was coming back, and Ryu from Street Fighter was being added to the game. It was right before E3 of 2015. But it kind of had that association, and they still showed them off during E3 of 2015. E3 2018, Smash Ultimate got its first proper trailer, revealing every veteran returning, with Inkling and Daisy being added and Ridley getting a trailer. Come E3 2019, after the game came out, Hero and Banjo-Kazooie got trailers, at the start and near the end of the Direct. So there is a massive precedent of us getting at least 2 Smash character announcements here. Even with that, I personally still have some doubts. It's between the fact these are likely the last 2 characters Smash Ultimate's getting for DLC, and we still have a half a year until the pass is done. I don't think that would be the best marketing move. Not the worst marketing move, but all the mystery, speculation, and excitement surrounding those characters we don't know about stand a decent chance of deflating because of us knowing who that last character is. We still have a lot of time left for the DLC to end if it's just 2 characters. The risk of deflating excitement is also bigger, depending on those last 2 characters as well, if it's not someone insanely popular or universally beloved, because every first party to some extent has had some controversy or palpable distaste in some manner. And then there's the idea of Nintendo and Sakurai being all, actually, we're gonna add more characters and this won't be the end. Now let me be clear, me dancing around the idea of there being more is not me saying, oh, I know for a fact they're going to add more characters. Nah, they lying. This ain't the end. That's not what I'm saying. I'm convinced he's telling the truth. This past year, these past couple months, there were like 5 instances in Famitsu columns to where Sakurai held strong to the idea that these were the last characters, and I'm on the side that he's telling the truth. But how many times has Sakurai either recanted statements and stances he's had in the past, recant means not holding a belief or opinion any longer, or completely debunked any reaching fan-made rules and theories on newcomers? Smash 4 not planned to get DLC. Smash 4 having a single-player mode different from Subspace, and recanting there not being any story mode at all. Fan-made rules like trophies disconfirming characters, spirits disconfirming, relevancy mattering in some characters, the first pass being all they settled on, along with the question of we don't know if Nintendo approached Sakurai asking for more DLC with Volume 2, or if Sakurai himself wanted more characters. I've mentioned this kind of stuff in 2 different Smash videos already. There's also that chance them announcing 1 or more characters here could be the potential catalyst for them planning a 3rd pass because of all the marketing effects that it would have for one of Nintendo's top 3 best-selling Switch games. This alongside, they didn't announce Volume 2 and Volume 1 finished. They said they were adding more when Terry was announced. They didn't even finish the first pass for them to confirm a second one. And we still have 6 months left. So I think there's still a window of opportunity if Nintendo really wants it and if Sakurai's open to adding more characters than these last two. And no, his most recent Famitsu column where he discusses the idea of retirement isn't him wanting to retire immediately. He stated he wants to continue game development. He's just ending his bi-weekly Famitsu column after 18 years. Not Smash specifically, just general game development he still wants to do. Him wanting to retire was misinformation that spread like wildfire. Yes, he deserves a break. Yes, he's a godlike top-tier developer and a fun, humble-looking man that deserves all the love and praise and money in the world, but he's still a workaholic and overachiever through and through. And even when he feels it's definitive, he's never openly expressed or implied he wants to stop altogether. As in, he may be open to the idea. Again, the stuff he's recanted in the past. I also see some others dance around the idea of a Fighter's Pass 3 sometimes, even when Sakurai states and heavily implies these last two characters are it, because others know they can easily pull a 180 on stuff like this that isn't set in stone until the very end. So on a personal level, I always go back and forth with so many various factors going for and against the idea this is it. But my point is, there's always the possibility of things changing until the end, especially when there's precedence for that as well. Especially when we didn't even get the last character of Volume 1 for them to announce a Volume 2. Because if they drop both characters, the hype dies down, and then they'd ramp it back up by announcing another pass. Or, if they saved one character for later and announced another pass, then hype would be even higher than the former scenario. Even then, there's also the chance of them announcing both characters, or one at a time, has absolutely nothing to do with another pass, and they're sticking true to their word. Even with ways they announce one or more characters, it can go either way, until we get definitive proof at the end, confirming one or the other really. I could see Sakurai sticking to those definitive statements if they primarily don't announce another pass around late September. When Terry was announced early September of 2019, he was coming out 2 months afterwards, and the last character was still a mystery until next January. If they saved the last character announcement for early fall, for him/her/it to come out towards December, that would line up with Volume 2's supposed runtime of ending the very end of this year. I'm wrapping my head around the idea these are it more and more, these are the last characters, but there's always that chance it could change, and there's precedence for it. I've talked about this whole Smash speculation thing and the DLC in particular already in 2 other videos you could check out, but for the sake of it being E3 and how confident I am Nintendo may deliver a lot of expectations and announcements, I'm gonna make the first bold prediction and say, I'm literally about to contradict everything I just said. There will be a third pass. They're gonna announce a third pass. It's really hard to say what will happen until the end of the year, but I feel like it's never the end until we reach that end, especially with a gray area as huge as both Sakurai and Smash Bros. And if you don't mind a tinge of personal bias for a kind of insignificant reason, it's also because I feel like 2 passes feels odd to end on alongside Smash Ultimate has almost 100 characters. Once this pass ends, we'll have 89 characters total, including Echo Fighters, which let's be real, most people do. And it feels like hitting 100 would add even more layers of Monumental and Grand to Ultimate, when it already has a lot of those, and again, all the stuff I've talked about regarding Sakurai and Smash itself in the past, you know? I can picture him wanting to push to 100, but like, again, that's like insignificant biased reason. I do think we'll get at least 1 character, but the first bold prediction will be they announce a third pass. If I'm wrong, that's completely fine. Who are the characters though? You guys know who I'm guessing since Volume 2 started, and since last early fall, the last 2 characters I'm predicting are between Crash Bandicoot and Dr. Eggman. Both these characters make sense equally in my opinion for an E3 reveal. Both characters make sense logically for Smash characters. They're both really popular. They come from iconic and popular franchises. They're iconic characters themselves in some way. Their movesets can be unique and entertaining. A lot of people have been saying Crash would be perfect for Smash for a while now, for a lot of reasons, and now Dr. Eggman's garnered more strength and reason for his case. I should say his blueprint for being in Smash. And the latter's one of my most wanted characters as well. I'm going to expect Crash for this one if we're not getting both him and another character or Dr. Eggman. That was a lot of Smash discussion, let's move on. There has been discussion surrounding Donkey Kong getting a new game, between rumors of a Mario Odyssey team working on it, and the fact this year is his 30th anniversary for the country games, 40th for Donkey Kong as a whole. I made a whole video on the topic, short summary. I do think we're getting a Donkey Kong game this year. I do think it'll be a 3D game made in-house by Nintendo, and I do think they will not leave Donkey Kong hanging. Again, I spoke my whole piece on it in that video. It's all there if you want the full discussion. Something interesting though is one Nintendo survey that asks how interested one would be in purchasing a Warioware game for $50, and I feel like that's a little too weirdly specific of a question if they weren't going to drop a new Warioware game. Not only this, WarioWare Gold was the last game we got back in 2018. It's been a while since. Forget how long it's been since a new Wario Land game, but I think it's a safe bet we're gonna get a new WarioWare game on this Switch at all. Here at this E3 would make plenty of sense too. Intelligent Systems finished Fire Emblem and Paper Mario a while ago. They're a big studio as is. A new Wario game is probably a decent prediction. If it's Wario Land, I'll be even more excited, but yeah, I'm expecting a new WarioWare, which is kind of funny because I predicted a new Wario game from the February Direct and that didn't happen. So I'm gonna just shift it here. Trust me guys, the Switch Pro is definitely gonna happen this week, but with Wario. I just thought it was funny. Actually, I guess I'll talk about the Switch Pro since I brought it up. I could see Nintendo announce it. I feel like it's an inevitability, but man, have we gotten thousands of Switch Pro rumors and fake leaks since the first year of the Switch being out on the market, and they have not come true yet at all, that I've just gotten so numb to it, that I kind of don't expect it because of it, even when this year Nintendo releasing an upgraded Switch makes sense. You guys know I never talked about the Switch Pro or a Super Nintendo Switch or anything like that before, but honestly, if I'm wrong, you could just chalk it up to the Switch Pro rumors and speculations not coming true for the 78th week in a row. Just because it's such a numb, low-hanging prediction, sure. Nintendo will reveal the Switch Pro here and release it in the fall. You could tell I kinda don't care because I'm so numb to it. Mario Golf Super Rush. That game comes out in a couple weeks. I feel like it's likely Nintendo will make a little reminder announcement for it to tell people it's coming out soon. Game looks pretty fun. Speaking of Mario, I've been dancing around the idea of Mario Kart 9 coming to the Switch twice now, but I'm waning a little bit because of something else. I didn't research this. I could likely be wrong about what I'm about to say. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most of Mario Kart 8's development team also worked on ARMS. I know ARMS was made in-house at Nintendo, but I feel like both teams shared similar studios. I do know they shared the same director/producer, Kosuke Yabuki. He directed Mario Kart 7 and 8, but he was one of the big producers behind ARMS, and he's mentioned Mario Kart did influence ARMS to an extent a while back. And between Min Min and Smash, and how well ARMS sold for a new IP, this is another prediction I made for the February Direct, I think. I'm just moving my past predictions over here, aren't I? I'm pondering the idea of ARMS 2. And I feel like I have to choose between that or a new Mario Kart on the Switch, and honestly, as much as I think Mario Kart 9 on Switch is going to happen eventually, I think ARMS getting a sequel might be a smidge more likely. Or maybe, hey, we get both, and those are two big games at once, since they could reuse assets from ARMS and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for the sequels. 8 Deluxe didn't really change a lot from 8 either, so we could get both. If I had to choose one though, I think ARMS 2 could potentially be a thing. And actually, since I'm moving past predictions over here, I might as well do the same for Kirby. Star Allies finished a long while ago, Kirby Fighters 2 came out last year, but I'm fairly sure that was a smaller project, and I believe they may tease the next Kirby game here. The kind of game I'm expecting, a 3D Kirby, because developers of HAL were asking for more people to come into staff and they wanted to do something bigger and more impactful for Kirby. It was a recent interview, I'm blanking on it. It'll get a trailer, and it'll come out next year for Kirby's 30th anniversary, since that's next year, and that makes more sense. Also, Pokemon. I think Pokemon will host their own event a little before Nintendo's E3 presence, since they've had a history of doing that as well, and they'll drop a new trailer for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl alongside a new trailer for Pokemon Legends Arceus, since the former comes out this November and the latter next January. If there's no Pokemon event, then they'll probably drop them in the Direct. Speaking of potential, let's talk some games with unspecified release windows. Splatoon 3 is coming out next year, but it's because of that I don't think we're getting Splatoon 3 here. I think we're still a ways off from getting more. That's a definite tentpole release for next year. Splatoon is insanely popular too. I think they're going to hold out on that. Bayonetta 3 is one of the few early announced games I can see being shown here, but even that feels hard to guess given how weird the guy behind Bayonetta is being about this whole thing. So I'm going to say no, they're going to save Bayonetta 3 for later. And the hardest one though, Metroid Prime 4. It's Metroid's 35th anniversary this year. It's been a hot minute since Nintendo told us Metroid Prime 4 would have to restart development, and I think they're not gonna show this either. I think Nintendo knows how important this game is for Metroid fans, that they don't want to screw up development a second time. I think COVID screwed up development in some way, and even then they restarted development early 2019, so we're still realistically another year off from knowing more about it. However, I do think they'll cushion the anniversary aspect by announcing a Metroid Prime Trilogy for early next year, in spite of the comments of that one developer who used to work for Retro on Metroid. I'm blanking on the guy's name, but it's a dude who said the Prime Trilogy would be hard to emulate for Switch, it'd be a lot of work, with either traditional or pointer controls, yet He's never worked with Retro for a really long time. Resources are likely different from his perspective and Retro's current perspective now, and especially when you factor Skyward Sword HD or Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario 3D All-Stars. I think they want to put out something Metroid related, and the Prime Trilogy makes sense, and sadly, they would probably sell it at full retail price like every other Switch port. And while we're on the topic of anniversaries, I'm going to make another bold prediction and say, I think I made this in the February, oh my god, I'm so unoriginal. Kid Icarus will get something. Grezzo just finished Miitopia. They're talented with remakes. I believe we'll get an Uprising HD remake announced for Switch, developed by Grezzo, and it'll come next year. Look, man, I just want Kid Icarus anything. It also has an anniversary this year. I love Uprising. It deserves it, man. It's a really bold pie-in-the-sky prediction, especially considering how soon they finished Miitopia. Bold predictions like these are what make E3 speculation fun, but damn it, man, Kid Icarus deserves more love out here. Grezzo remaking Uprising for next year or the following year, it'd be perfect, and I doubt we're gonna get a new game anytime soon. That's a prediction I love to be wrong. I don't think we're gonna get a new Kid Icarus game. Nintendo, prove me wrong. Come on. I'm wrong 97% of the time. For the love of God, just give me this one thing. Give me this one thing! And a little third-party stuff is to be expected. As far as actual predictions, I think Shin Megami Tensei 5 will get a trailer here. The website updated. It's slated for this year. It's a Switch exclusive. I'd have to imagine a new trailer's coming soon. Project Triangle Strategy. It will likely get a trailer, get a proper name. I pray it doesn't have Triangle Strategy in its name anymore. Monster Hunter Stories 2 comes out this summer, so it'll probably get a trailer as well. The new Sonic game will probably get its own trailer again, either in a Sega-specific showcase during E3 or some anniversary event later in the month by Sega. Whether a trailer or some gameplay footage, I don't think we're going to get Sonic stuff in the Direct. You could tell my mind's kind of dry with third-party stuff in general. That's usually the case. But my final bold prediction is even if we get a new Donkey Kong, even if it's developed by the Odyssey team, I believe we're going to get a teaser for Super Mario Odyssey 2, co-developed by the previous staff of Odyssey and the staff behind Bowser's Fury, and it's going to announce it's in development like Breath of the Wild 2's first teaser trailer. I didn't play a whole lot of Bowser Fury. I'll sit down and play the whole thing at some point, but I think Bowser's Fury is emblematic of Nintendo's approach to 3D Mario in the future, alongside how well Odyssey did and how much sense a sequel makes it all. They could also reuse assets from Odyssey like what Breath of the Wild 2 is doing. Working on both a Donkey Kong and a 3D Mario at the same time wouldn't be horribly time and resource consuming between that, spreading these projects out, and there's also the chance they increase their studio, hence Bowser's Fury, alongside the possibility both games never impeded each other's development, given how massive the Odyssey team is. It's another topic I've already discussed in full in another video really long time ago, but I've always believed an Odyssey sequel is just a matter of time. And ending this on a teaser for a new 3D Mario, a sequel to Odyssey, with a bunch of new ideas, captures, worlds, missions, and whatnot, would be a big way to end this E3 if Breath of the Wild 2 isn't. Gotta have some pie-in-the-sky prediction at the end. So, there you have it. Breath of the Wild 2 trailer, Skyward Sword reminder, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity DLC, a new Smash character, or two, specifically Crash and Dr. Eggman if he's not being saved for later, bold prediction of Fighters Pass 3 being announced, a new 3D Donkey Kong, a new Warioware, a Kirby teaser, the Switch Pro being announced within the next week and a half, Mario Golf Super Rush reminder, an ARMS sequel, if not maybe Mario Kart 9, the bold prediction of specifically a new 3D Kirby coming next year, a Pokemon event prior to Nintendo's E3, otherwise more trailers for BDSP and Legends Arceus, Metroid Prime HD Trilogy, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Project Triangle Strategy, and likely other third parties I didn't even mention, the bold prediction of a Kid Icarus Uprising port for the near future by Grezzo, no Metroid Prime 3, no Bayonetta 3, no Splatoon 3, no Sonic in the Direct, and the bold prediction of an Odyssey sequel being announced in development. Omitting some pie-in-the-sky ones, though, for what I'm about to say, us getting Zelda, a new Smash character, a new Donkey Kong game, a new WarioWare game, more Mario Golf, and even some new Pokemon info and third parties definitely makes for a solid E3 all around. Forget any other potential announcements of the grayer areas. I feel we're in for a good show next Tuesday, and I hope you guys feel the same and will join me in it. What are your predictions for this year's E3 for Nintendo? Do any of mine match yours, or do you have any different ones? Let's bask in the speculation and discussion that is E3 once again, as I am very looking forward to next weekend when the time comes. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for E3 coverage, reactions, and content, as day by day, we're getting closer and closer. Stay super!
Yo, hey, 妹妹，嘿，我来呀！共和大哈哈呀！拉面，嘿，来面，白哥面，共和再见呀！ 谢谢。